€607 million. That is what Chelsea have already committed this window on one confirmed deal. Now their name is in the mix. This episode covers 2 days, Monday the 3rd and Tuesday the 4th of August. Some of what is coming is done. Some of it is still just talk. Which one is real and which one is noise? Every fee, confirmed or not, gets weighed against what the player is genuinely worth. 27 days until Germany and France shut their windows. 28 for England, Spain, and Italy. That clock is why clubs are moving fast. Drop your verdict in the comments as we go.
One outlet. That is it. Nobody else is carrying this Morgan Gibbs-White story, and that matters more than the number attached to it. So I am not treating it as real. Not yet. What I will do is judge him on what he is actually worth, because that number is solid. 56.7 million. That is his market value. Dead center of a range running from 51 to 62.4 million. Chelsea have already spent $607 million this window on one confirmed deal, so a fee in that zone would barely register for them. Here is the football case. Gibbs-White is 26, peak years, right now. His contract runs to June 2028, so Forest have maybe 22 months before their leverage really starts slipping. If the number holds when it is confirmed, that is fair value, not a gamble. Real deal or noise? Tell me straight in the comments. €55 million for Ferran Torres. That is the number going around. Here is the problem. It comes from one place. Fichajes.net is reporting it, and nobody else is carrying it. No confirmation. So let's be honest about that before we do anything else. Now, the actual value. Torres sits between 38 and 46.5 million. 55 blows straight through the top of that range. Contract until June 2027. That is 10 months. Barcelona had almost no leverage left. They were staring down losing him for nothing next summer. So paying close to full value here, even at the real number, actually makes sense for PSG. He is 26, peak years, no argument there. But if this fee is real, somebody overpaid for a player they could have gotten cheaper by just waiting 6 months. Real deal or transfer fiction? Comments, tell me which. €49 million. That is the number floating around for Marcus Rashford to Fenerbahçe. Here is the problem. Nobody else is confirming it. One outlet has it. Not 2, not 3. Just one. So let's be clear. This is not a deal. It is a rumor, and I am treating it like one. But let's judge the number anyway, because it is worth judging. His market value sits between 31.3 and 38.2 million. 49 million blows straight past that range. Fenerbahçe do have a case, sort of. Rashford is 28, peak years, and United had roughly 22 months left on his contract, so their leverage was already slipping. Still, even with that leverage gone, this fee looks overpaid against what the data says he is actually worth. Would you pay above market for fading leverage? Prove me wrong in the comments. Right, 3 fees in, and none of them held up to scrutiny once you actually check the numbers. That is the whole job here, digging through sources before the headlines settle for the easy version. If you want tomorrow's fees, check the same way. Subscribe. That is genuinely why I keep doing this. €33 million for a goalkeeper who is not even confirmed yet. Let that sit. Because if this happens, Paris Saint-Germain are paying above the estimated range for Zion Suzuki. 19.5 to 23.8 million was the number. 33 blows straight through it. But here is the thing. Parma held the leverage. Suzuki still had 34 months left on his contract. No pressure to sell. None. So if this fee is real, Parma dictated it, not PSG. And he is 23. Ball-playing keeper, 190, built for the modern game. Part of that overpay is really PSG buying future resale value, not just a shot stopper for now. Still, this is a rumor, not confirmed. Treat it that way until it is signed. So tell me, if you were running Parma, do you hold out for more or take 33 and run? Bargain or blunder? Comments.
10 million euros for Romelu Lukaku. My first reaction? That is right where it should be. Nothing about this one is shocking, and that is sort of the point. Let's break it down. 10 million sits comfortably inside his estimated range of 8.3 to 11.2 million. No inflated number here, no discount either. But look at the timing. Napoli had about 10 months left on his contract. 10 months! That is nothing. Wait any longer, and they risk losing him for free next summer. So this fee is really about leverage, not legacy. Then there is the age question. He is 33. At that stage, resale value basically disappears. Atlanta is not buying an asset to sell on later. They are buying output right now for 1 season, maybe 2. Is that a smart bet for MLS, or too much money for a player who cannot be flipped? Yes or no, comments, go. This is also still just a rumor, not confirmed. Worth watching before we call it done. 2 million euros for a 36-year-old goalkeeper with 10 months left on his deal. That number is only coming from one place. Nobody else is carrying it. So let's be straight. This is reported, not confirmed. Until a second source shows up, treat it as a rumor with a price tag attached. Now, judge it on the value we actually trust. Gulácsi's market value sits between 1.1 and 1.7 million. 2 million clears that range. Here's the real story, though. Leipzig had 10 months of contract left to sell. Little leverage. Risk losing him for nothing next summer. So why pay close to full value anyway? At 36, there's no resale here. Villarreal are buying pure present-tense goalkeeping, not an asset. Smart squad move, or paying retail for a player who was about to walk free? Comments? I want both sides. Imagine this. Suzuki takes over between the posts. Torres slots into that front line, stretching defenses that already had no answers. Around them, the rest of Paris Saint-Germain's spine stays put. Now the number. 632 million euros. That is the combined market value of this projected 11. For 88 million spent. Let that sink in for a second, because the gap between what they paid and what they now field is enormous. To be clear, this is a projected lineup based on squad ratings, not an official team sheet. Nobody has confirmed this starting 11. But if it is even close, that is one of the most terrifying squads in Europe. Would this lineup scare you? Tell me why. So that's today. A few deals done, sealed, signed, a few still hanging in the air, and I flagged every single one of those as unconfirmed, because guessing is not my job. Tomorrow, more business rolls in. Now, which one of today's deals was the worst piece of business? Not the biggest, the worst. Tell me in the comments. I actually want the argument. I read everything down there and I reply. Subscribe so you catch tomorrow's episode.